Hi, so this is Christina again with Archibal. Today I wanted to go into classifying expenses for 2021, so for this year. And our goal is to be efficient and clear, so let's get started. So for IRS meals from 2021 to 2022, right? In 2020, meals were more of a 50%, tax deduction. But for this year, because of, the economic turmoil and the consequences of COVID, it's like the IRS has given us a break. So for 2021, meals actually has 100% tax deduction, which is amazing. So let's just first start off by questioning, what is a business meal? So a business meal is going to be a meal in between, an employee of the company, the business owner, right? And it's going to be strategically only for business purposes. For example, you'd have a meal to kind of discuss, marketing, to discuss, a new position, to discuss operations, a meal for the office, in general, that's considered a business meal because it's only for business purposes. So there is a different contingencies as far as business meals. You'll also know that business meals from restaurants are 100% tax deductible. You know what I mean? However, the issue comes to play when personal meals are kind of mixed in with business meals. So personal meals are not tax deductible. Let's just say that the owner of the company wanted to kind of go out, and get lunch. Unfortunately, that's not tax deductible because it's not a business meal. It's not in between one or two people discussing business. So that's just, a different allocation. In that case, right, if the owner does use his or her credit card, to purchase a meal, then you'll actually have to allocate it to owner's draw, which is basically the classification for a personal expense. Another area of IRS meals is travel meals. You have to make sure that meals that are travel based are outside of the territory that the business owner lives, and it has to basically make sense. Last but not, least, the most important thing is actually having a basis. And with a basis, you have to have adequate evidence, which is your receipts. So, we live in such a technological advanced environment, but you know what I mean? It's so hard to keep receipts for every single thing, but it's required to have those meal receipts, in the case of an earthquake happening, which is the IRS. But you know what I mean? It's very valuable to have all your receipts, digitally and physically. So yeah, it's always great to have your receipts. So let's just go through an example. Let's just say business owner goes to Starbucks for a venti caramel macchiato, which is my favorite. Is that a business meal or personal meal? So, right, I think that, this again, it's very common. A lot of people like to write off their Starbucks, um, expenses as business meals, but unfortunately, it's a personal meal. This is personal because the business owner is going, by themselves, to get a caramel macchiato, but it's personal because it belongs. He's not necessarily discussing business with a venti caramel macchiato. He's going by himself, so it's going to be a personal meal, and most likely this expense will be $5-10. You know what I mean? It's hard to kind of write that off as a business meal. So this you'll code to owner's draw. Next, business owner goes to BJ's restaurant with employee to discuss a marketing plan. Is this a business meal or personal meal? So based on what we previously discussed, this is a business meal because, it is a restaurant. They're going to discuss business with an employee. It doesn't even have to be an employee, it could be a client, you know what I mean? As long as they can document, that experience of going to the restaurant to kind of discuss that, part of the business, it is a business meal. So, example three, business owner goes to Whole Foods to buy groceries. Um, Business meal or personal meal? So for this case, actually, it's kind of hard to classify in some people's point of view because Whole Foods does have, actual meals. However, it is a personal meal because the business owner is going by himself to buy, groceries, and groceries is considered a personal thing. And also, too, it's hard to kind of deduct because it's not necessarily from a restaurant. So in this case, it will be a personal meal. So before I go into the meal log, I do want to show an example as far as classification. So let's see if I can just show that. This is a sample company, right? And this is not necessarily a real bookkeeping, but let me just show you an example of a meal classification. So for this expense, right, it was a cash expense, right? It's called Bob's Burger Joint, right? And it's actually an expense for $3.86. So let's just click on it, right? So for this, right, it's coded to meals and entertainment, but based on the the lecture that we went through, right, this would actually be classified under owner's draw. So we're going to create a category called owner's draw, or it could be shareholders distribution, or partners distribution. So we're going to go to account type, we're going to go to equity, and then we're going to go to owner's equity, and we're going to create an account called owner's draw and save and close. So because this is an expense of $3, you know what I mean, at a burger joint, let's just say, for example, in the IRS point of view, this will definitely be a personal meals because it's not necessarily, within the context of discussing business. So this is just another example of how you'd classify this. So I'll save and close. And this is a sample company, so normally it would save, but not in this case. So let's just exit out. But at the end of the day, let's just preview the balance sheet. And let's go right here. And let's just say it's the balance sheet for this year. Run report. So in this case, right, the owner's draw is a portion of equity, right? It's basically, the owner taking money out of the business, and he or her is using that as a personal, expenses. So that's what the owner's draw is. So basically that 386 we just allocated to owner's draw because it's a personal meal, and we do not want to allocate personal meals under the P&L meals and entertainment. So yeah, that's how you allocate, owner's draw for meals as far as we discussed. So this is an example of a meal log. It has the date, the amount of people served, the name of each guest, the vendor, the amount, the business purpose, which is kind of like budgeting, accounting, or the financial records, and whether or not it has a receipt, which is very important. So yeah, it's just a quick example of a meal log. Feel free to, be as creative as possible. Thank you so much and have a great day.